Okay, so we're teaching a new person to do classes, so you might see Connie's just sitting over here on the side. So if you hear me talking to someone, there is actually somebody there beside me, as I'm showing her how to do the different things. My name is Dori, and I'm the retail manager here at Meadowbrook Gardens. I've been here for 29 years in January, so I've been here since the very beginning. During that time period, I have worn many hats, but I have found now that I absolutely love being in the retail store. So that is where I have now grounded myself.
And my name is Amber. I am what we call a gore beautician here at Meadowbrook, and so I do a lot of what we're going to do today, tonight, and with the class, just putting everything together and making it look pretty and come to life, basically. I did start out on the farm crew, which we can explain that later if anybody doesn't know what the farm crew is. So I started that in 2017, and so I've been here full-time since 2019.
That is correct.
Yeah.
We do have you all muted. You may unmute yourself if you have a question, or I'm going to open up chats. So if you don't want to talk to anybody and you just want to send us a message, I'll keep an eye out for that we can answer as we go along. If you are comfortable and you do not mind leaving your video on, that would be great, just because it allows us to know if we need to slow down or go faster or what. So if you don't want to do that, that's fine. Like I said, my chat is open, so you can, just, hey, slow down, or I don't understand what you just said, and that would be wonderful. Amber's going to go through all the parts that should be in your kit. Hopefully this is what you're planning on making tonight, because this is what we are making. But she's going to go through the parts. If for some reason you do not have something that she says, please give me send me an email, and I'll make sure I get that out to you right away.
Okay. A couple things first before I get started in going through the parts. A few things that we did not send along that we just suggest for you to have in case you need it. A bowl of water, just for since we are painting, some napkins, and yes. Any questions? No. Oh, okay. We do use baby wipes as well to kind of clean our hands off and stuff. So if you don't have those, that's okay. But if you want to use this time as I go through the parts to kind of get that stuff, you're more than welcome to. But I'll go ahead and go right into what you should have. So within your bag, you should have gotten your gourd. Yes, this is the raw gourd. It has nothing on it. It should have a plug on the bottom, which you can pop that out. You should have this rubber band. We will be taking off later. It's just to hold it all together. But then you should have your cord that goes with that. And then within your bag, you should have gotten a little bag. And in your little bag should have been a paintbrush, 3 Q-tips, your glue, which is going to be the single white container, and then your paints. And your paints are going to be all connected. They should be all connected. And this is your white. So don't get confused with your glue and your white. But I can explain that later as well once we get to it. You should have a little nose. Is that nose? A Be Mine sign. A stem. It's paper wrapped wire. And then you should also have your ribbon. And I believe that's everything. I don't think I set a plate that you'll need as well, that we don't send along. Is everybody good? Does everybody have everything that they need? Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get started.
I'm going to move that up a little bit so we have some room.
So first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to get your piece, and you're going to take your base off, and you're going to take your rubber band off. And this will come apart. You want that to happen. If you're with a group of people, what I would suggest is try not to mix your center of your belly. Because if I would take Dori's gourd here and try and stick this in there, it does not fit.
No.
They may look the same, but it's an actual true fit because they're handcrafted. So anyway, we're gonna start with this belly. I'm gonna have us go ahead and start painting that a while. So you're gonna want your paintbrush, the belly, and then you're gonna want your paint as well. So first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm going to just dip the very tip of my paintbrush into the water. This just gets it so that this will help the paint go on smoother to your board. So you just want this basically damp. You don't want it dripping wet. I just take and set it on my napkin here just a little bit just to get some of the excess. Hey, Dory, do we have more paint?
Actually, underneath our printer is another kit.
Sorry, my paint is frozen.
Is anybody else's paint thick, but it's not runny? Okay, I mistakenly stored these out on my dock after they gave me the extra ones, and it gets, well, it freezes out there. So that is that can be a problem. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm just checking the other ones to see if the other ones are all frozen too. Yep, they're all frozen too. Perfect. Thank you, Connie.
You're welcome. Okay.
Okay.
So Connie, when you are doing this, you'll have to keep checking because now there's a new person up there. So I'm going to admit them.
Okay.
And then we'll just catch them up here real fast.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Avis. Thank you for joining us. We just got started, so you are not behind. The first thing that we're doing is we took out the base out of our the body of our board, and we took the rubber band off, and we just started painting the body white. So we are suggesting that you kind of wet your brush a little bit and then put it in the white. It's going to give it kind of a muted color to begin with, but it really helps with brush strokes in the end because we're going to need to do more than one coat anyway.
Yes.
And if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself, or you can you can send me a chat and I will keep looking. Okay, now I have a question. Do I need to do inside the rim of my heart?
So that is a good question, and that's what I was just about ready to say. That is a totally optional thing. I personally think that it looks more complete if I do get in the inside of that edge there of the heart cutout. Okay. But you do not have to. It's just whatever you prefer. What I will say is you do not have to put any of the paint on the hole for the nose, which is that hole right there. That the nose is actually going to cover that entire thing, so you don't have to worry about paint around it, of course, but not inside the hole. So the design, the cutout part is totally optional, whatever you want to do.
I'm gonna paint mine.
Yes, I know. I just think it looks a little bit more complete. And don't worry too much about getting a lot of paint in the hole of the beak. I would try, if you have like globs of it, I would definitely try and get that out of there. And you can do that by just like kind of dabbing it like this. That way the beak fits right in there. Because sometimes it is a tight squeeze, so you want to just make sure you don't have a lot of paint in there.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have like two containers. One's like an off-white and one's a white. Which one is your...
You're gonna want to use the off-white. The
Okay.
white is your glue.
Oh, okay.
You have a very sneaky penguin if you use that one.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
You weren't the only one to try it.
Okay, so yeah, like Dory was saying, this first coat, it's gonna be, you're gonna see part of the natural gourd come through, and that's okay. But it's just one coat. Okay, once you get that one coat on, mine's pretty much dry.
Yeah,
and ready to go. But what I want us to do is to pause real quick with that paint. And I want us to go ahead and glue our stem to our little wooden sign.
Okay.
That's because tacky glue takes a little bit longer to tack up than like using hot glue where it's kind of instant. So I want us to be able to glue that onto the sign. So when we go to glue it into our gourd here, it's good to go and it won't fall off. It's just going to make it a lot easier.
And so now you do want the pure white single
Yes.
container.
Yes. I'm going to take my Q-tip and dip that into the glue. You don't need a whole lot of glue. All I'm going to do is put a line on the back of my heart, and the line can be straight in the center, but if you want your heart at like an angle, you can make that line at an angle. However you would like your heart to be situated onto your gourd here, like this one. I like how it's up and down like that, so I'm just going to keep my line completely straight, and I'll show you. I don't know if you can see that.
I guess say you might have to, there you go. Tilt down.
So, and then you'll just take your wired stem and just place it on the back and just set it to the side, and then that'll tack up a good bit, and then we can keep going.
Okay.
So this should be pretty dry. So you can go ahead and do your second coat on this body. I wouldn't dip your paintbrush into the water again unless you feel like your lines are like super bad. This second coat should just be the brush however it was, and then I'm going and painting my piece here. And I do want to add too, if you have other paints that you would like to use at home that we didn't send along, you're more than welcome to do that. You're able to make this project your own, and you don't have to follow us exactly, but we just like to give you the option of what colors we sent with the original is what we send with you guys, so that you have it.
I'm getting messy.
You are messy.
I am a very messy painter, I must admit, so I'm sorry. Don't follow my painting technique.
There's no really good way of holding, unfortunately, this.
That's why they put me in the retail store.
So what I'll say though is when we actually do these kind of pieces in production, we have a guy that does work our spray booth. And so we would spray these kind of colors on. So he sprays these so he would have them all laying down, and then he would go over and spray them. And then same with these would also be sprayed black, which is how we get it to look so
Even.
nice and even.
Mhm.
So we're not actually hand brushing them. Our dyes, we actually do hand brush them on. Okay, almost done. Okay.
I'm gonna probably need another coat on mine.
Me too. I do agree.
Yeah. Normally the white takes about 3 coats, so,
Yeah.
but that one's not, since I didn't water it down at all, that one's not,
As
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Make sure you guys do close your glue. I did not close mine. So make sure you do close that so that it doesn't.
I'm just afraid I'm gonna use it. If I have it open and it looks white, I'm gonna use it.
Yes. So I'm just waiting for this to dry just a little bit, which I think it's like pretty good. Another kind of technique when it comes to painting while we're waiting here for this to dry, you want to make sure that your coats in between dry completely. And that is because if you don't, you're going to get the paint, it'll just kind of pull apart from the board if you don't let it completely dry once you put your other one on.
And then you just have globs.
Yeah, of like untouched gourd. So it's just best to let it completely dry before you go to your next one. And it just helps the color to just be more vibrant onto the gourd.
So I almost hate to ask this, but is there anybody, just raise your hand, is there anybody that it is warm where they live? Oh, could you please send some our way? Now, I must say, I mean, it hasn't been too bad. We've gotten about, I guess last week we got about 5 inches of snow, and
Mhm.
it's supposed to rain starting tomorrow, I think through the weekend. So
Mhm.
that'll all be gone. But
Was spritzing a little when I was on my way.
oh really?
Yeah.
And it is just raw when you walk outside.
It is.
So yeah, so we are very envious of you warm weathered people.
Yes. Yes.
For sure.
Another thing I do want to say too, since you guys, most of you are at your home, I'm assuming, I do want to give you the option too, if you're like really, it's just taking a lot longer for your paint to dry. I want to give you the option that you can take a hair dryer and put
Mhm.
hair dry your piece. We're not going to do that. They just get too loud, and I don't want to like ruin your ears.
We'll just wait
Um,
for them to dry a little bit. It's
yeah.
almost dry.
Yeah, mine just the last part that I touched
Yeah.
before I stopped is still a little. So yeah, that's another thing that you could do is just use your hair dryer and get it to dry faster.
Everybody else looks like they're still painting.
And if at any point that we are going either too fast or you want us to pick up the pace, just let us know.
Okay, I think I'm going to start my third coat.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's
pretty good.
Yeah. It'll let me know if it's not.
Yeah.
yes. And sometimes this paint, because we're using a like a household latex paint, it is already shiny. So it is gonna look a little bit shiny as if it was wet, but really it's just the finish of the paint.
Okay, now with that being said, one of the questions that we do get a lot is, do you need to spray it with anything to like seal it? This is latex paint, the same kind of paint you would paint your walls in your house with. So technically, no, you do not need to do anything to seal it. But if you want to, or you want to make it really, really shiny and you want to use like a gloss spray, you absolutely can do that. It's not going to matter. The only thing is because we are using white with this project, you want to use polyacrylic and not polyurethane. Polyurethane is going to make your white turn yellow, whereas the polyacrylic will keep it the nice white.
And we have found that out the hard way.
Yeah, we had lots of yellow snowmen for a while, and then I couldn't figure it out, and you live and learn.
Yes. Is the third coat pretty covering?
Yeah, I'm having, a third coat will be fine for mine, so I don't.
Same with mine. Mine is
Yeah.
pretty covered. So then once you get your belly to be how you want it to look, you can rinse your paintbrush out, and we're gonna go right into the black. And I'm gonna set this to the side.
And close your weight paint.
Yes. We will need the white paint again, just to do the eyes. But for now, we can close it so it doesn't dry up. So again, I would make sure your paintbrush is damp. And what I'm doing, I didn't say this with the white, I'm actually taking my black paint, my paintbrush into the actual paint and getting a glob of it and putting it on my plate. It's just, I think it's easier that way. You don't have to, but I did want to mention that since that is what I'm doing. So no rhyme or reason with this black paint. What I will suggest is getting in the cutout portion of this, just because when we go to glue your belly in, there is a small sliver of the cutout that you will see. So you just want to make sure that you get that. It doesn't have to be perfect. As you see mine, it's very blotchy, but it's just covering that outer edge.
And it is up to you whether or not you paint your stem. The sample here shows kind of paint it. I guess it's more painted. Yeah. So. I don't think I'm gonna paint mine.
Your stem?
I don't think
I
so.
thought you meant your whole word. I was like,
Oh, no, I'm gonna paint. Now I'm gonna paint my gourd, but I'm not gonna paint my, I don't think I'm gonna paint my stem. The nice thing is there's enough paint that if tomorrow I decide I'm gonna paint it, I can.
yeah. And again, it is up to you if you want to get into like the wing cut out here. And all I'm doing is I'm just putting a good bit of paint on my paintbrush on the very tip of it and just kind of shoving that down in there.
Now, is the body going to take 2 coats?
Yes.
Yes. But I think normally with black, 2 coats is good for that. It doesn't normally take
Yes.
Okay.
3 coats like the white.
Yes. And how I'm holding this, I actually am sticking my hand underneath the bottom here, and then I spread my fingers out. So that gives me a solid structure because I'm hitting it and it's not going everywhere. To paint.
That would have been funny had it blown off your hand.
I know. I'm sure if you really whack it, it would. And
Yeah.
if I wasn't like knowing, like if she would have just done it without me knowing, it would have flown across the room. And it doesn't matter if you paint towards you or away from you. It just depends on how messy you are. And if you're not super messy and you're not worried about like paint splattering into your face, you can go towards you. But if you're worried about paint getting on you, I would do away from you.
And since I'm the messy painter, I go away.
Yes.
Okay, so those of you who have done classes with us before know I always do a farm update at some point. So I'll do the farm update because this is a pretty big thing to paint. So, so right now on the farm, the gourds are out in the fields and they are lined up, cut off their vine, and they are drying. So right now they are probably loving this weather that we have right now. The wetter the winter, the easier they are to clean the skin off come spring or when we go to use them. So so they are out there right now. We did a smaller crop this year. I think Ashley, our farmer, I think she said we did about 15 acres. Normally we do between 25 and 35, but the last couple years have been very good years for us as far as growing. So we just had to kind of grow some of the ones that we knew we were getting a little low on, which is very nice. So that's going on. And I do know that she brought some in that are still raw, but maybe half dried, to get seeds out of them, because we have our own seeds that we get from our crops. A lot of our gourds are hybrids, which means they're like a cross between 2 different types of gourds to get the look and shape and size that we want. So since we're the only ones that have done that, we're the only ones that have seeds. So it makes it a little hard to get them somewhere else if we don't do it ourselves. So, but other than that, production is heavy on spring right now.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
heavy on spring. We have a very short season this year between now and Easter because it's so early. So we are trying to get out as much stuff as we possibly can to get it sold. So that is what's happening on the farm. I think my first coat's going to be dry till I'm ready to do my second coat.
Mine is pretty wet, but that's okay.
To do the bottom here.
Once you guys get your first coat on, I'm actually gonna have us go back to our little belly here.
Mm.
And I'm gonna have us start doing the belly while we wait for that to dry, because I think it's gonna be a little bit, mine's pretty wet. So you'll need still your black paint, you'll need your Q-tip, 2 Q-tips, and your glue. And your nose.
I need nose, my glue, too, and my body. Okay.
Mhm.
I think you got it all.
I think so.
Okay. So what I want us to do first is to glue our nose in. I like to glue the nose in first before we do the eyes, because it gives me a base of like kind of where to look off of to do the eyes.
That
You could
makes
do
sense.
it. Yeah, you could do it without. And I know people that do it without, but because the noses vary. We hand make these noses. And so the width of them and just the structure of them, everything is going to be different. So mine is completely different than what Dory's is. So I like to glue the nose in and then do the eyes so I can go off of the nose. So I'm gonna have you take your glue and your Q-tip.
One thing I want to stress is when you are putting your nose in, do not put a lot of pressure on right in here or you will snap it.
Yes.
Okay, so just be very careful because some of the noses are tight. Mine's tight. I don't even know if I'm going to need glue. Yeah, I don't even think I'm going to need glue. But as I started pushing, and everything is curved, so if you're trying to push down, it's just going to crack. So just be very careful when you go to put your nose in.
Yes. If you are using glue, I'm gonna have you just put a little bit on your Q-tip, and all you're gonna do is put some in the hole. No rhyme or reason to it, just put it in the hole. It can have some outside. I don't know if you can see that completely. It can have some on the surface of the gourd, and that is okay because tacky glue does dry clear. But what I will say is if you have globs of it, you will see that. But anyway, I'll just take my nose. I like to keep one of the flatter edges of that nose on top. So just keep it flat.
Really easy.
Yeah. So it all depends. Like I said, you know, each of these noses are handmade.
Yes.
So they're all very different. Mine had a thicker little stem, I guess you could say, to put through the hole.
Yep.
Yours went right in.
Yes.
So
And it could be to however much paint you got in your hole too. I will say that. But
well, and since I'm messy,
Yeah.
there's a little bit of paint in there.
that's okay. That's okay. So if you do have like too much glue around the nose, all I would do is I would take your finger and just kind of rub just like this. I don't have any, but I wanted to show you just in case. Okay, so we don't need your glue anymore. But you'll need that other Q-tip and you want your black paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Q-tip, the actual cotton end, and I'm going to dip that into my black paint. And then all I'm going to do is I like to keep the eyes, they can be centered on here, but I like to keep them closer to the nose than the top of the I don't know, we wouldn't call that the little hump here.
His forehead.
There we go.
Forehead, yeah.
There we go. So keep it a little closer, but then you want to also kind of keep it even distance from each side of the nose. So I just go on each side of the nose, and I put a dot, and then I put another dot. Now, when you're doing your dots, what I want to tell you is the harder you push, the bigger your eye is going to be. So if you want your eye to be smaller, you just don't want to push really hard on your Q-tip. I have had people use the back of their paintbrush. So that is an option too if you're not comfortable with the pressure. You're more than welcome to use the back of your paintbrush. I think that's a good size as well. You just want to get them as even as you can. And that's it. Just like that.
Perfect.
Mine,
They look good. Yeah. It looks really good. So then I'm gonna set that to the side. Because then we have to wait for the eyes to dry so that we can do the little white fleck in them, like you see here.
mhm.
So set that to the side and we'll go back to our body and we'll do our second coat.
Okay. I asked her if she wanted to do one. She just wanted to sit there.
No,
That's okay.
She's
you
just
think you're messy. You'd see paint flying across the room if I tried it.
That's funny.
Oh wait. 2 coats is going perfect for the.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, what I will say too, if after we're done doing the second coat and I think it's going to cover this really, really well. If you just don't think it's covered enough, you are more than welcome to do another coat. Same with your belly. If you thought your belly needed just one more coat, you're absolutely able to just go ahead and do that.
Let me open up a second. Paint.
Yes, I had to do that.
See a
Uh-huh.
little bit of where I've done and where I haven't. That's all I do is I always just keep looking.
Making
I
sure
do.
they don't have any questions.
Yep, and there's no questions, or if someone's just joining very late. Normally at this point, they don't join in, but. I did want to remind you guys too, that I will be sending out a recording of this, tomorrow. So if for some reason, you don't get to spend the entire time with us, or you miss something and, you want to go back and look at it, I will be sending that out. We're having problems with our email right now. I'm not sure. I had a couple people say they did not get the link. So please make sure that you check your spam or junk folder just to see if it was delivered there instead. And if you don't get it tomorrow, you can always call me or email me, and I can send you the recording too.
I did not mention this yet, but I'm going to now, even though I'm already done.
Whoops. It's fine. Oh golly.
You do not have to paint the inside of this gourd. I want to let you know.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
on the very inside, and then also the rim of where the base sits in, you won't even see that. So did want to mention
That's
this.
the whole side there.
That's like a rule of thumb, like anytime you get kind of any of our gourds, you don't really want to paint the inside of the gourd.
It takes a very long time to dry because
Yes.
it just sucks it in.
They're looking really good.
Oh, thank you.
Because gourds are a lot like wood, and so they're
Mhm.
very porous.
Yes.
So yeah.
And every gourd takes paint or dye or differently.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, while you guys are painting your body, I wanted to tell you about a couple classes coming up if you did not get a chance to see them yet. So let me get my hands somewhat dried off here so that they're not. So the next class that's going to be coming up is called the Willow Friends Scene class. This is going to be a Zoom class. And it's in pieces because they took it apart so that they could order the boards. But this is the next little one that is going to be coming up. And you get to make, obviously they didn't glue the ears in. Okay, but anyway, you get to make two of the little blue bunnies. They come on a little wood biscuit with a little yellow flower. And then you'll also get to do the fence. That is scheduled for February 20th. And it is $27.59. And that includes shipping. So there's only a few spots of those left. But I wanted to show you in case you haven't signed up yet. And then the class that's going to be coming in March is our St. Patrick's Day cottage. And it's really cool because it has it has the shamrock windows. And we're going to be sponging it green. And then the roof is actually white and gold sponged. So you'll be able to make this. This class is on March 12th. It's $53.85 with the fees that you pay through TicketBud, and ticket sales end for this class on February 1st. So if you're thinking you might be interested in doing that, I would sign up for it now rather than later so that you don't miss the deadline. Other than that, they're the next two classes for February and March. So
For Zoom.
For Zoom.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a couple other ones if you're nearby that you can sign up for, but there's a bunny, a willow bunny that's orange, and
A gingerbread house.
and that one's filled though.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a gingerbread man house, but that filled up. So yeah, so they're going good. Is your eyes drying? Yeah, mine's pretty good.
Okay. I'll go ahead and show you how to do the eyes. Okay. So you're gonna need a little bit of your white paint.
Glue paint. I don't like glue.
And then I'm gonna use the back of my Q-tip. I normally like to use a toothpick. So if you have toothpicks at home, I would suggest using them, but we don't have any in the kit, and that's okay. That is on me.
She put the kit together.
So I apologize. But anyway, it'll be fine. We can use the back of our Q-tip, no problem. So you're just gonna dip. I'm gonna actually not dip the entire thing in because I don't want that big of a fleck. So I'm gonna dip the very edge of the stick. And when you go to put the fleck in the eye, it's going to be the same spot on both sides. And if you're looking at a clock, it's going to be about 2 o'clock. So that's where it is on both sides.
This is tedious.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For the, is it just a white dot in the middle of the black eye?
No, so it's going to
Or
be
is it like a little line?
no, it is a little dot. So it is a circle, but it's going to be on the outer edge
Okay.
Right.
of the eye rather than the middle of the eye.
Okay. And is it on the same, like if I put it off to the right, it has to be on the same side on both eyes, right?
Correct. Yep.
Can we see yours close up?
If you can see that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see that or not, but yeah. Yeah, if you put it right in the middle of the eye, it almost looks like he's like staring at you.
Yeah, it makes it look spooky.
Yes, so that's why we just kind of put it off to the top. It just makes it like have a little personality.
Yes. Mine is still a little wet in some places.
Yeah, mine is too.
That's okay.
Oh, you did your stem.
I did do my stem. I am also one that I think if the stem is not painted, it's not finished. But that's my opinion, and that's okay. That's okay.
I don't feel that way, so.
No, and that's okay. That is okay.
To each their own.
That's
Yes,
right. That's right.
Yes. And I also want to say, if your stem is super long and you don't like how long your stem is, you are more than welcome to trim that. And you can take, I wouldn't try.
Don't use scissors.
No.
That's not gonna work. Use more like pruners, like that you would use out in the garden. Pruners,
Wire cutters.
even wire cutters will work, but pruners are probably the best.
Yes. You might break your scissors.
And then we'd get in trouble. They told us to use scissors.
I'm going to have us do the next couple steps. Even if your gourd is not dry completely, that's okay. I think it'll work.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wouldn't touch your piece, especially on the spots that are still drying. That'll be hard to cover up with this black. I just know from experience. Okay. So all we need to do is we're gonna glue in our Be Mine sign into the hole. You should have a hole on the side of your gourd here. If you're looking at it, it'll be on the right. Should be. And then we're also gonna glue this belly into the board as well. So what I would suggest is I'm actually gonna have us glue this little sign in first before we glue the belly in, because if you want the sign to stick out a lot, I want you to be able to have that option. Or if you want it to be stuck down into the gourd a little bit more, I also want you to have that option. Because what I'm thinking is I'm still gonna have you glue it in, but when you push this down in really far, it's going to pretty much act as if you didn't even glue this in. So I'm going to show you how to do it so that it would still be glued. Because I want mine short. But if you want yours long, disregard this because it should stick and be totally fine for you. Okay, so I'm just going to take my glue and my Q-tip again. Dip that into the Q-tip. For those that are just, be careful holding it like this. Mine's pretty dry, but you don't want to put your fingers in your wet glue.
So you can put your hand in, and then that way everything is inside. So
yeah. Okay. So this is for everyone, and then I'll show you how to do it if you want your sign to be a little bit further in. I would just put some glue in your hole like we did the nose. You're gonna take your stem here. I hesitate because sometimes these are a little bit tricky to get in because it's just paper wrapped wire. Sometimes it unravels. So I like to just twist it at the end a little bit. And then when I'm putting it in, I like pinch the end and I go with the twist of the paper. That way it just kind of twirls in and you don't have a problem. So if you're just going to stick it in and it's going to stick up like this, I wouldn't worry about adding any more glue. I don't like how far that is. So I'm going to shove it down in. But before I place it exactly where I want it, I'm actually going to take my glue and put a little bit more on the stem and then shove it down in a little bit further so that it stays right there. And then I'm going to take my finger trick again and just kind of wipe the excess glue off the outer surface so that it's not super gloppy. So then my piece is actually sticking out just like this. And you could also bend it backwards, but you don't have to, so that it's like bent up in there like that. You really don't have to do that. I think
the glue will hold it.
yeah,
fine.
absolutely. It'll just hold completely fine. unless when you place the only other thing I could think of is if you place this here and you can see that stem in your heart cutout, then I would push it back just so that it's not in the way of the design and stuff.
Okay, yeah, mine's not either. Mine goes down in.
Perfect. Okay, to glue your body then, you'll want your Q-tip again and your, of course, glue. And what you'll do is you'll just actually put a line of glue. I would put some at the top of the forehead here, on the sides, and a little on the bottom. You don't have to cover the entire surface, but you will just want enough on there so that it tacks up. So I did the top. And it's just like a bead of glue. And then I did the sides on here, the bottom, and then I'm just going to do a little line on the very bottom here.
And remember, this does dry clear, so even if you have a little bit on the gourd, it won't show up. Now, if you have big globs.
Yes, but what I do want to say too, if you keep that glue on the inner side of the edge of the gourd, you should be a-okay, because then it'll just push right in there. So then you'll just take your body, your belly, and you'll just stick that right on the gourd. Be careful of pushing too hard so that you don't snap it. And I do have a little bit of glue pushing, and so I'll just use my finger tip and just smear that just like that. Just so it's not super globby.
I like the part where you start putting it actually all together, because it makes it like actually come to life.
Yes.
It actually looks like something.
Yes. So the last thing that we'll need to do is put our bow on. And then of course, if you want to put your base and you light it up and all of that. And we can do the bow pretty much right away this time. Normally, if we have two pieces, like a head and a body, that we have to glue together, I kind of have to just like mock try and explain to you how to tie the bow. But this should be good to go since it's already all intact. We just glued the belly in. So what I'll do is your bow on the original is on the opposite side of the heart. So if you like that, you can do that. You can also take your heart, your bow. I don't know if I can twist this one or not.
It's pretty tight.
Yeah. So you can also take it and put it in the middle, or you can keep it on the same side of the heart as well. It's up to you. It's yours, however you want to do it. But anyway, this should be plenty long enough for you. What I normally do is I like to fold it in half, wrap it around the gourd so that it gives it a nice and even surface. And
it's really hard to show.
yes. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to show you on the table, but what I'll tell you is it's going to be a lot easier if you hold this in between your knees. Okay. And if you can't hold it between your knees, then you'll just have to kind of do it the way I'm showing you, but it'll make it a lot easier. Or if you have somebody to hold it for you, make sure they hold it good and tight, because you got to get the bow on there pretty tight. That's a really good way of doing this too. Okay. So then how I do my bows is I always start from the left side. So I'll take my left hand, place it, or left strand, place it over the top of the right ribbon, go underneath, pull. And that's going to start it out so that my bow is straight across and it's not lopsided. Then I'm going to take the left side again, wrap it around my finger just like this, and pinch it in the back. And then I'm going to take the right side, go over top, underneath, and go back through the back of that. And then you can fluff this bow out. However you want it, you can make it as big or as small as you want. But it'll look just like this. So I don't like all of this. So I'm going to,
You don't.
no. So I'm going to cut it. And this, yes, use your scissors for sure. And then it's just a little pretty bow.
Perfect.
And if you want to, you could even put a little bow on the top.
Yes.
That's a little excessive.
Hey. Look, she looks like
It
she
is
belongs
cute.
in the 50s.
She's getting married.
Or she's,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So
Yeah, super cute. So then
I
you
have
can,
enough left over. I figured, why
yeah,
not?
I mean, I have plenty that I could do the same thing. And then I would just take your base, stick this on your base, push it just a little bit. I would not slam it down just because the gourd will actually snap on the bottom, like break. And then you have your little light that you can actually just pinch and put right in. And we're all finished.
Yeah. So I like my little bow on the top.
Cute.
I don't care what they say.
I don't want one, but it is cute.
Maybe tomorrow I won't want it, so I'll take it off. But anybody have any questions about the project, about the upcoming projects, about Meadowbrook in general? Any questions? Is everybody, it looks like people are starting to tie their bows, so I'm guessing that that's going to be okay. Okay. Well, we thank you very much for joining us this evening. And we hope that you'll purchase one of the other kits and we'll see you again. And if nobody has any questions, we're going to say goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You're
Really
welcome.
enjoyed it.
Good. I'm glad. Well, happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
You too.
Thank
See
you.
tomorrow.
You
Yeah.
too.